Good evening, painting people, and welcome to a grotty painting stream. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. You have to let me know if there's any problems with the sound. Tonight I'm going to be working through my grots. So I'm going to be working on all of these little guys. They're really tiny. In fact, I'm going to have to zoom right in on this so that I can get smashed by Mark at Blood Bowl. So without further ado, I better get started. Zoom in a bit. Be careful that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be doing most of these with contrast paint. I better do some sticking first because I want to get them all painted fairly quickly. And I think I can still get a nice bright effect with them because some of them are really, really saturated. But before I can even do that, I've got some repairs to make because a few of them have fallen off their bases. Some of the contact points aren't amazing. It doesn't help when some of them are also covered in a bit of bloody cat hair. I managed to break so many of these guys, getting them off the box I was using to paint, to spray them. Quite ridiculous. I think that's the repairs. Let's get painting. I'm going to try this striking scorpion green. I haven't used it yet. I'm hoping it's good. Kind of the main body of the grots. I've got my massive brush. And I'm going to very naughtily paint straight from the pot. Oh, you moron. There's only 3 that have just stuck and I've just picked one of those up to do. Or one that I've not just stuck. I really like these models. They've got such fantastic character to them. So whilst I'm going to try and speed paint this whole team, I don't want to. I want to do them justice at the same time. This striking scorpion feels like it was made for painting grots, not things. So when I was a kid back in the days of Warhammer Fantasy, greenskins were described as the bigger and tougher they were, darker their skin tone. So snotlings being at the lowest end of the hierarchy, you had the most yellow skin tone. And that's kind of what I want to go for with these guys. Off. Another flipping hair on this. Hey Stephen, how are you this evening? If anyone ever figures out how to deal with all these flipping cat hairs on your models, I'll be super glad. Awesome, got a GT league starting in a few weeks. That'll be fun. You got your list ready? Clint, I might need to finally use that airbrush that's been sitting over a year collecting dust. Really? Over a year? I finally set my airbrush up on Saturday. I haven't used it since I moved. And I had such a backlog of stuff that needed airbrushing, it was getting ridiculous. Hey, Two Scoops. Also have a builders competition starting. We have to build and paint 500 points, then 1,000, 1,500, then 2,000, and play with the army as we go. About 3 weeks to get each 500 points painted. Looking forward to getting my kids done. Lots of motivation done. Yeah. That sounds awesome. I've always fancied the idea of doing a builders league. I could see that being a lot of fun if you had a lot of people of a like mind. Neds. Yeah. Well, kids would have worked as well, Stephen. Good community out here about their Votan armies in it already. I think we mean 3. Yeah. I've got the Votan box behind me. I will paint them up at some point because I like the models, but I'm not kind of super excited and raring to go with them. Bandage or something. Yeah, I think it is. I'm glad I'm using Nitty. I would be all the Votans running around. I was looking forward to playing the smaller games. I've only played 2000k. I play a lot of smaller games. I quite like them. I like the idea of playing a couple of small games rather than one big game, because I can get like sometimes 2 or 3 games in. I'd say 1,000 points rather than 2,000 points. 2 scoops. This will be my second army if I ever pick one up. So many cool models. Yeah, we did the NID episode the other day, and yeah, it really appealed to me, to be honest. They've got a fantastic amount of stuff. And really cool models. The problem is that my favourite models, apart from the classic Screamer Killer, are the Brain Bugs. And they're all the really broken ones. Nice change up from painted power armour. Yeah, absolutely. Like complete opposite. Well, that's one of the reasons I'm quite excited to paint with these snotlings up. It's very different to the normal stuff I do. Clint got a GT November 2nd, going to submit a list to BA Commander for review. Bug him about it as well, because he's an absolute bugger lately for missing lists. So post it and then tell him you've posted it on the Discord. He missed Mark's list off the other week, and I think that's quite funny. And we're still ribbing him about it as he did it in purpose. The running joke is that he didn't want to review Mark's list because he was jealous. This guy's basically naked. Do any of you guys know much about Blood Bowl, or am I not alone in having absolutely no idea about it? Two new contrast paints seem to flow and give a less blotchy look than the ones in the past. Some of them do. Their flow medium's definitely improved, so there's less staining on the surface than there used to be. I don't know where you can come out on the screen, but it's less staining for flatter surfaces. Some of them are more like inks at the moment, which is quite useful, but it doesn't give you any kind of contrast effect on there at all. And there's a couple of sort of super weak ones that are, I think, more of just slightly thicker washes or heavy glazes. I do quite like them. This green is nice. It gives a nice kind of yellowish tone to it, which is really what I want for these kind of super weak little snotlings. I really kind of subscribe to the old Warhammer Fantasy thing of the bigger and tougher they are, the darker their skin. So you've got sort of black orcs at the top of the hierarchy, and then snotlings at the bottom. The black orcs are so dark green that they're nearly black, and then snotlings are nearly yellow. Very, very, very pale green. Blood Bowl sounds like something a sanguinary priest might need. No clue. Yeah, you're like me then, mate. But my wife kindly bought me this box of snotlings because I thought they were cool. And one of our Patreons kindly sent me the Blood Bowl rulebook and the snotling dice and cards, so I need to learn to play them. And I'm actually quite looking forward to it because the game looks really sort of fun and fast paced. The idea of a game that I can knock out in an hour or so really does appeal to me. Because I love 40k, but it does take a long time to play a game. Even sort of 500 point games and 1000 point games, which I quite like playing. Although the game is absolutely not balanced at small point sizes. If you thought it was bad at 2000, you've seen nothing till you tried to play sort of 500. Dark Assassin. Hey Dark Assassin. I know absolutely nothing about Blood Bowl. Trying to use the Zenithal highlight with Black Legion contrast over it for the black armour of my new chapter master. I converted from the Horus Heresy Praetor with a sword. Not sure if I need to get some contrast medium for that though. You might. A bit of contrast medium will mean that you build up the black over layers, which might be better because you can always, you know, darken it down. It's harder to brighten it up. I don't know if I worry too much about contrast medium, but even just some Lamia medium, or even acrylic thinner if you're going over a zenithal. Gotcha, it sounds like a plan. I have some glaze medium from Vallejo, so I might use that. Yeah, give it a go, that should work alright. Also played a 4-player 1,000-point game this week. Absolute chaos. My friend brought Leviathan Nids. Nasty. But I do love a good 4-way 1,000-point game. That's always a recipe for chaos, which I enjoy. I love a bit of silliness. Mephiston and a Chapter Master with a Mastercrafted Relic Blade double teamed the Swarm Lord and absolutely took him apart after it tanked 2 Orc Scrap Jets and took 0 damage. That's, yeah, that's pretty close. It's problem with 4-up invuln save. Sometimes you save absolutely everything and sometimes you don't save anything. I know it's frustrating to play into, but it's frustrating to play with as well. When I'm playing with my Custodes, sometimes I feel absolutely invincible and other times they just seem to die to guardsmen. single exocrine had just wiped out the Sanguinary Guard in one shooting phase. Ouch! I really rate exocrines. I think they've got some really decent shooting for their points. When I was going through the codex the other day, they struck me as one of the better fire support options in the book. A lot of their bigger shooty bugs are just too expensive, but I think they're one of the more efficient ones. Damage 3 as well, I think, so that just puts them in a really nice place. I full on furied and charged the warriors and zoanthropes, killing the warriors and 2 zoanthropes, so that was fun. Yeah, because you don't want to leave those zoanthropes hanging about. They dish out the mortal wounds, but their synaptic imperative is incredibly powerful. This team is going to take me ages. These are some ill-looking Smurfs. This dude is particularly Smurf-looking if you can see him on screen. They're not ideal for doing on stream like this because they're so small the camera just can't figure out what to do with them. Yeah, he does. He's clearly, we'll say, inspired by Smurfs, that guy. I quite like this fella who's picking his nose as well. pain in the arse cheeks on a Smurf. I can hear him screaming Gargamel. Smurf's still a thing. I know they had that movie a couple of years ago. I believe so. Like a lot of older children's TV programme, it makes this resurgence at the whims of producers. Yeah, whenever they think they can cash in on some sweet nostalgia bucks. Although, if I'm honest, I don't really have any nostalgia for the Smurfs. They're not something I lie awake thinking, oh, I'd love to watch the Smurfs again. Thundercats, now that's a TV show I'd love them to bring back properly. Not that weird chibi remake thing they did. Do you guys know that Hasbro put all of Gen 1 Transformers onto YouTube for free? With absolutely no adverts or anything. A buddy of mine showed it to me the other day and I was super excited. I might have been watching Gen 1 Transformers. I think I'm on season 2 now. I need to go to bed. Yes, that's why I'm leaving this stream. Painting my Lunar Wolves, all Mark 3 and Mark 4. Wicked. I take it you're painting them as Lunar Wolves rather than as Sons of Horus as well? Are you trying to do some like Loyalist Remnants kind of thing, or just a cool painting project? Yes, sir. My homebrew chapter, I run them as Dark Angel, so that's quite a good idea. Oh, Cat is in the stream. Transformers seems like a good excuse. Yeah. I absolutely love the Gen 1 Transformers movie. Yeah, me too. It's classic. To be honest, the sequels and... Sorry, sequels. I don't even know if they are sequels, but the live-action modern ones and that are rubbish compared to that. When Tony can transform into a car, someone let me know. I wouldn't turn into a car. I'd turn into a fighter jet. I'd definitely be a Decepticon. Or what was the one that turned into a tank? That was wicked. This is the snotling that's all stoned. I'm still a little bit surprised I managed to get away with it. There were two tank ones in Gen 1 that I know of. One was an Autobot, the other was a Decepticon. Can't remember which way round they were. I used to have a Transformers tank toy. It was a little green one. But I cannot for the life of me remember if it was a Decepticon or an Autobot. I think that one was the Decepticon, the Autobot was red. Quite probably. When I was a kid, I definitely thought the Decepticons were cooler than the Autobots. Now I'm officially not a kid, I still think the Decepticons are cooler than the Autobots. Although Although I've noticed now that Soundwave and the little one that used to go in his chest, the little one that turns into a chest, goes into his chest, now turns into an iPad. Which seems mental to me. Laserbeak, that was it. So yeah, now Laserbeak turns into an iPad instead of a cassette tape. Because kids don't know what a cassette tape is, I suppose. I always loved Soundwave, my favourite Decepticon. Yeah, mine too. I used to like Megatron when he used to turn into a gun as well, which was really weird because he just sort of got really small for some reason. Never asked, what are you painting? I'm painting my Snotling Blood Bowl team. One of the Patreons, Foz, was very kind and sent me the Blood Bowl rulebook and the Snotling cards and dice. And I already had the Snotling team because my wife bought me them because I thought they were cute. So I'm painting them up. And then I'm going to go and play Mark at Blood Bowl so he can smash me. On that note, we haven't announced it in the Discord yet, but Mark and I are going to be going to Warhammer World on the 28th of October. That's a Friday. So if anybody wanted to come up there and join us, you would be very welcome. Or a beer. Or beverage of your choice. That'll only be one beer for me because I've got to drive. We were hoping to film while we were there, but Warhammer World have categorically said no. So I hope they don't ever find out about that Gabriel Seth intro we filmed. Because that's what happened last time Mark and I went to Warhammer World. Yeah, he turned into a gun and Starscream had to fire him, which is weird. Also, yeah, I too was totally into Beast Wars back then. Still have most of them. They were wicked. I'm too young to have had a toy of Hotshot and Scorponok from Energon. I'm probably a little bit. I started collecting, well, I had a few Transformers in the 80s. But I was born in 86, so I missed some of the real fever for them. This guy's basically wearing a loincloth. In fact, all of them are basically wearing loincloths, apart from the one guy in a robe, because he's a wizard. I've painted so many snotling arse cheeks today already. The rate I'm going, I think we'll be lucky to green them all tonight. Oh no, we've still got an hour to go. I'll definitely get them greened. The actual tip of my brush is bigger than some of these snotlings. I think my obsession with using the largest brush possible might be getting a little out of hand. Anyone read or in the process of reading the newest Siege of Terror book? It's really good, especially when the Emperor meets Sanguinius. I've bought it, but I haven't read it yet. I'm a little bit behind with the Siege of Terror. And I'm so massively OCD, I can't possibly read one of the later books until I've finished all of the earlier books. And it has to be finished recently as well, because I've got most of the way through the Horus Heresy before, but it was a little while ago, so now my OCD wouldn't let me just skip to the next one. I've had to restart from the beginning. John's been taking the piss at me because I still haven't read the Ashtaroth book. But it wasn't that long ago I finished Mephiston, City of Light, the last one of the Mephiston trilogy. And if I'm honest, I didn't like it. It didn't read very well. It was very bolt upon. It was just whatever happens, Mephiston can overcome it because he's super awesome. That was just a bit dull, to be honest. Clint, I do the audiobooks as I paint. Yeah, I do the same, to be honest, mate. And I also do them when I'm driving to and from work. Except obviously when I'm streaming, because it'd be a bit weird to listen to an audiobook on stream. Probably just get copyright struck, to be honest. Immediately. I just started the first book of the Mephiston series, coming off Twice Dead King Reign. The first couple of books of the Mephiston series are quite good. In fact, the first one I really enjoyed. I just found them writing style a little bit kind of juvenile. I think some of the other modern Black Library I've read, or modern era 40k Black Library, was I finished the whatever series Godblight, and that is the Gilliman series, and that's really well written and really interesting. And then, of course, you've got Devastation of Baal and Dante, which are great. And the Ironman series, they were really good. And I was just disappointed with the Mephisto one. I don't think it did him justice. It didn't get across his character. It just got across as that he's awesome, therefore everything always goes his way all of the time. He always wins. And it just didn't read very interestingly. The first two books were, I think, better because they didn't focus on Mephiston. It kind of left him as this kind of like super powerful but uncontrollable force of nature. But the third books, you spent a lot more time following Mephiston around. I also got a bunch of audiobooks in a Humble Bundle for 18 US, and I want to listen to Carrion Throne. That's wicked. Actually, the whole Watchers of the Throne with Valerian and Leia, they're some of the best modern era kind of 40k books I've read recently. They're extremely good. They do a good job of having the custodes in them without making them silly, but also not making them seem weak either, which we've seen a couple of times in the Horus Heresy. Keep drifting off the bottom of the screen here, and I'm sorry. Shout at me in the chat when I do it. It's because the camera's at an angle. Although I'm not moving horizontally at all, I'm moving every time I move vertically. It just brings me off the screen. Yeah, all three books are really good. These really are fantastically characterful sculpts. I'm just laughing at this guy's massive sock. Tony, what does your 500 point Blood Angels list look like? Varies a little bit. I think the last one that I put together was a Libby Dread. Yeah, it was a Libby Dread, an Ironclad Dread, and then some infantry. I think I squeezed a Sanguinary Guard in there as well. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll have a look. Let's have a quick look. It is... I can find it. Blood Angels Combat Patrol. So the last one that I ran, actually, was Mephiston, an Assault Intercessor Squad, a little squad of Sanguinary Guard, and an Eversaw Assassin. But I've definitely done a few others other than that. What else have I run? I think this one's out of date, actually. So this was the other one that I ran. A Librarian Dreadnought, Intercessors, Ironclad, Calidus. And this was quite successful. I ran this in a little tournament and it was pretty good. And then at 1,000 points... What have I got running at 1,000 points? Libby Dread, Incursors, Sanguinary Guard, Vindicator, and like, Jesus Christ, I remember this. So this is one that I put together, but I haven't actually used yet. But I intend to use it the next time I play 1,000. So it's a Libby Dread as a Warlord, a squad of Incursors, a squad of Sanguinary Guard, then a Vindicator, a Tech Marine, a Laser Destroyer, and a Leviathan. I haven't tried this yet, but I thought it'd be funny as hell. And then where's the last one that I actually ran? Oh yeah, I ran this one. Ironclad, Death Company Dreadnought, Redemptor Dreadnought, Relic Contemptor, Librarian, Tech Marine, and an Incursor Squad. There might be a bit of a theme going on with some of these 1,000 point lists that I've been running. I tend to skew quite hard if I'm playing at that kind of points level. That's 2,000 points, that is. Yeah, these little 1,000 point lists are awesome. Yeah, I love them. I have a lot of fun playing at small points level games. You just have a lot of fun with it. It's a good shake, it's getting a bit dried out. Shouldn't sit if it's along with the pot open. I'm using NIDS, but cool to see just how different the lists are from 2K lists. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're more fun because I don't know, I don't feel as much pressure with a 1K list to make sure it's good. So I feel more freedom to just run all sorts of mad shit. So like Sicarans and, well, Leviathan Dreadnoughts. Assassins. Assassins in 1K games are hilarious. They never make their points back, but the level of fear they sometimes sort of generate is so much fun. And occasionally when they do, like I had one game where my little Calidus assassin with a funny little pistol thing brought down one of those Death Watch flyers. But that thing had such a massive explosion. When it exploded, it wiped out half of both our armies. And the assassin was just completely unharmed. It was directly underneath it, and it was just so cinematic. She did more damage blowing up that transport than the rest of the game combined. I'd say 2K list of kids is equally as terrifying as lids. Almost certainly it would be. That's exactly it. I have the GT League starting at the same time as the Builders competition. Looking forward to the small games and painting competition to keep my love of the hobby. Yeah, it's the same. I find myself not really all that excited for big 2K tournaments and things. I just don't like playing kind of that style of 40k at the moment. Yeah, go back 10 years and I used to go abroad for tournaments, and now I can barely make myself drive an hour up the road for a tournament. But like a Builders League or something, then I'm well up for that. I'm taking BA into Tyranids, Votan, Sisters, Harlequins, LOL, the works. Yeah. I need to balance it with the fun stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You can't take things too seriously, or it just won't be fun. That crack between the paper has been bothering me for an hour. Thank you. I need to find some A3 or something. I need to keep it there because there's the cutting mat underneath and the camera's always focusing on it. Rather than on the models. I totally agree about Darkness Into the Blood. Yeah. I think there seems to be like two halves to sort of GW Black Library fiction, and some of it is really well written and really interesting, and the rest of it is not. And it is very changeable. I think Darkness in the Blood was the weakest of the Guy Haley Blood Angels trilogy. By a fair way, actually. What colour am I using? I'm using Contrast Striking Scorpion Green. It's the first time I've used it actually, and I like it. Very saturated, but it's also quite transparent, which makes it work quite well for this sort of thing. Quite a warm green. Some of the Primarch series are very, very good, and they're relatively short. That's interesting. My friends and I are doing a thing where we build and paint the new 1500 point armies. 250 points a month, so get the motivation to actually build my Necron list themed around the Ithacus dynasty from Twice Dead King. That'd be wicked. There's a bit like what Stephen was saying with the Builders League. That's the same kind of idea. You build a certain amount each month. But then in that one, as you reach certain milestones, you play each other. I think it's better to do that. It's more motivating. I find it harder to motivate myself when I'm the only person in sort of the group building and painting anything. I want to have people to play against that are. I want to see progress as well. Just more fun. See how other people are doing. And that little bit of competition, I think, just adds a bit of the fun. Oh, I've got another dead one, so I need to fix him before I do anything else. On the pump wagons while they strike. It just includes all aspects of the hobby: build, paint, collect, play, be social, and semi-competitive. Not fully, so all players are going to have fun. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? You want people to be able to build and paint what they want, rather than what they have to win. You know, I really don't like sanguinary guard models, and I feel at the moment that the established way of playing is 3 units, and I don't want to do that. Boring. Bit of variety. Probably would have been easier painting sub-assemblies, but everybody knows my feelings towards sub-assemblies by this point. Is that snotling hanging off the side holding a frying pan? Yes. Yes, it's holding a frying pan. In my headcanon, he stole it from the Halfling team. What about boat assembly? What do you mean? We're probably going to play each other at 500,000 then 1,500. Yeah. Proper escalation league. Sounds wicked. I might see if I can do one. When 10th rolls round, I might choose another army and do an escalation league with them. I don't know what I'll pick though. Although I've got a little bit of a hankering to do Cassicians. Just really lean into that kind of Predator 80s action movie look. I'm really hoping they get some new models with the Guard refresh. I don't know. I mean, I've got Thousand Suns sitting around not doing anything. They really need making. Sisters of Battle I haven't really done much with for 9th. Problem with Sisters of Battle is that they're so good, everyone uses them. And I kind of like playing with the underdogs. Like I said, I've got the Votan box sitting behind me, but I don't want to use them because even with their nerf, they're really powerful. And I quite like being the underdog in any matchup. As mad as that sounds. If BA suddenly become really, really good, I probably won't play with them for as much for a while. Which I know does sound weird, but... Now I get it, JT, and I love it. Yeah, boat assembly, sub-assembly. That wasn't sarcasm either, I genuinely love that. Yeah, that's going to tickle me for a while, that. That's the reason why I only run 2 Sang squads. I wanted more variety. Yeah, it's a bit dull if you run loads of the same thing. Also because I like to do conversions to custom Sanguinary Guard, and that can get expensive. Oh yes, it can. I love the idea of doing it using Dawnbreaker cohorts, but I'm not that rich. I don't know one set of Dawnbreaker cohorts, to be honest, because they are so expensive. Okay, to do this fiddly guy inside here, even though I have to admit that this brush might be a bit big. Quite a bit of overspill. But I did it though. I need a recommendation for a really bright neon green, blue and pink. Where do you suggest I go looking for those type of paints? Are you feeling ill? Yeah, clearly I must be tired. The other day I was looking at this and I was thinking I wish I bought the size 6. The size 5 might be a bit small. Super bright neon green. I haven't tested it yet, but AK have just released a set of neon paints. Vallejo have a range of everything that aren't bad. I've got a set of scale colour neon paints and they're very good, but they do not work like normal paint. What they're incredible for is using, well, to be honest, for sort of the next step of this. With normal paints, I like really thick paint so I can thin them down generally. If I'm doing things seriously rather than just trying to contrast paint a Blood Bowl team. But they are even thicker than normal. And you cannot thin them. If you thin them, they actually separate and don't work. You need to slap them on super thick and then you move them around with your brush so you kind of blend them in on the model and work them in. And they take a bit of getting used to, but they are super neon and at the same time super flat as well. So when I want to do something neon, what I'll tend to do is I'll paint it with, say, you know, the Vallejo bright green, or say this bright green even. Something like this. And then I will work those kind of scale colour, super neon colours over the top of it. And the original colour, like the contrast, whatever underneath, will give the depth of colour and the saturation. And then the neon is just what gives it that massive bling in your face. I haven't found a neon paint out of the bottle or whatever that has good coverage. Not really. Some have got okay coverage, but then they lose a bit of the neon. Like I said, I haven't tested those new AK ones yet. They're on my wish list. So I might pick some up next time I do an element order to try out. But I've actually got I've got the scale colour ones, but they've actually just decided to do a range of neon artist paints. And they're the really thick ones. They're the ones that come in a tube. And I've ordered them, but because they have kickstarted them, they won't be around for a little while yet. But when they come, I've got high hopes. Neon artist paints seem really awesome to me in concept. They could be terrible, we don't know yet. Throwing out golden acrylics fluorescent. Yeah, I haven't got any of those yet. I've got some golden high flow though, which I think are the same range as the fluorescent. Or same makeup, and I didn't like them. Found them too thin. Now I want to try the golden ultra matte so flat range, but I'm scared of them because a lot of them have got serious heavy elements in. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am a prolific brush licker. And the last thing I need is heavy metal poisoning. And cadmium paint and lead paint. So I literally was about to pull the trigger on a set of toe flats when I realised that I might be about to poison myself. I've never really considered the toxicity of the paint that I buy before. But that's a real serious consideration. I think Vallejo fluorescent ones are good, but the coverage isn't spectacular. Coverage for all of them seems to be a bit shite. That's the problem with them. I think it's something to do with the way it makes it neon. After painting this much green, I might be turning off the idea of an orc army. I like the direction John is taking the BA channel. Community based is cool. Yeah, it's different, isn't it? I think John's got a problem in some ways on the BA channel in that because he's very faction focused, there hasn't been much in the way of developments for Blood Angels now for a couple of years. So he needs to keep on trying and expanding stuff. One of the original ideas we set up the Grots channel because of course Mark and I used to go on the BAC channel relatively regularly. We still do occasionally. Because we're all Blood Angels fans, but there's only so much you can talk about it. So we set up this second channel so we could talk about whatever else we wanted to. Yeah, Mark's super into Blood Bowl and other games like that. I really like my role-playing games. So I like D&D and things. It was just nice an opportunity to talk about them. And it means that the channels are much slower growth. The Grots channel's taken a long time to build. But it means that we can do whatever we want on there. Chat about whatever we want. Mark wants to get... Sorry, if John wants to get excited about the Stargate SG-1 role-playing game, he can. Whereas there's just not really a place for that sort of thing on the BAC channel. But because of that, there's also only a limited amount of stuff you can talk about. Which is why I think he's really pushing the community stuff at the moment. And people kept bugging him to do it, to be fair to him. You know? Yeah, from a kind of community point of view, Grots is a little bit different. We've got a much smaller community than he does over there. Which means we're a little bit more personable. I'd mentioned earlier the idea that Mark and I going up to Warhammer World on the 28th, and everybody's welcome to join us. And we can, because there's not many people, so it's not like we're going to have some sort of like flood of people turning up. If we meet 2 or 3 guys, that'll be a good day. And if we don't, well, we're going to play some Blood Bowl. And Mark's going to smash me. Either way, we have a good day. Yeah, when we went up for Warhammer Day, Mark and I had a great time. You know, and the Grots channel is really just sort of 3 mates having fun. Buggering about. Taking the piss out of each other. I see the Grots as just to nerd out and BAC is 40k with a BA focus. Yeah, absolutely how it's supposed to be. I don't know if you've looked into the 40k RPG from GW. I'm slightly interested in GMing it for my role-playing group, as I'm the resident DM. Could be wicked. I actually met the guys who made the current version of the 40k role-playing game at Warhammer Fest, or whatever it was. The anniversary event that Mark and I went to. And I've not played it, but I have played a couple of the older ones. So I've played Rogue Trader and the other one that leads into Rogue Trader, where you play like in minions and stuff. And there was a few problems that I didn't like with that game, especially in the way the damage reduction mechanic works, which meant you were forced into bringing bigger and bigger guns all the time. I didn't like that, because it's cool running around with a bolt pistol and blamming people, but you can't do it in Rogue Trader? Yeah, Rogue Trader. Because some enemies have got so much damage resistance, you literally can't hurt them, and that's just annoying. And when I spoke to the guys who made the new one, I think it's Wrath and Glory, they were saying about that and how they've fixed it, and the idea of sort of tiering character classes and stuff to mean that you can have a full campaign running as guardsmen, or you can be Space Marines. And there isn't a problem where the game doesn't scale properly. And that did seem quite fun. So I'm very interested in that new 40k RPG. I don't know if I'd DM it. I quite like DMing D&D, but I've not DM'd anything else, if I'm honest. Because I really want to play. I've got the Discworld RPG at home that I quite fancy playing. And the other one I really want to do is Aliens. Because that looks wicked. Ooh. Right, get in there. Last guy to green. I'm working on my first really homebrew campaign based on a ruined, destroyed, forgotten realm. Just have to figure out how to set up the plot. I'm one of these people that when they GM a game, they go a little bit overboard with the planning. And I'll admit to railroading my players a little bit because I quite like a story that's got a bit of pace to it. And I find that if you don't railroad your players, sometimes you just end up with a campaign where nobody does anything. Everybody just hangs out in the starting village baking bread or some mental shit like that. And dragons don't get slain and dungeons don't get crawled. So I like to give a little bit of impetus. So the way I tend to do it is I write an overarching plot and I have a lot of plot points. And I basically make it so whatever options a party chooses, so maybe they're going to go and investigate the cave or whatever it is, don't matter. They still eventually lead to exactly the same place. So my storyline can remain intact. But you're giving the illusion that you're following, you're giving agency to the players. Because they're choosing where they go. It's just the fact that where they go leads to more or less the same place. It might be slightly different monsters in there or whatever, but the overall result is the same. And that means that I can write a quite detailed storyline. And I haven't got to come up with it on the fly, which whilst I can do, I prefer not to. I just think the story gets a bit weird then, or convoluted, or I haven't got my voices ready for all the different characters. Which means a lot to me. A Grots roleplay series when? I don't know how we'd do it. I can't imagine it being much fun to watch a completely online role-playing series between the three of us. I just think it might be a bit dull. I think a one-shot might be a laugh. I know when we go and meet up, we're supposed to be playing a few different games and things like that. We've got a list of them that we want to try. John and Mark quite want to do a Star Wars one, Imperial Assault, which I'm okay with. I've never played it. I don't know much about it, to be honest. Right, where am I up to? And how much time have I got? I've got 5 minutes left. Right. Do I try and do another colour? Yes. Why not? Let's do another colour. Because I've got a couple of dudes with robes that need doing. So there's another contrast paint because we're trying to paint this lot quickly. So this is Talassar Blue. Still with my giant paintbrush. Size 5 for the win. I like to have the player's lack of action leave tangible consequences on the game world. Yeah. That's pretty cool. And it's something you can build in if you know the players aren't going to do anything. I've had like a kidnapping plot where the players kept trying to rest in the middle of the damned rescue. And in the end I got fed up with it and had the kidnappers escape with the townswoman's kids. Because they just kept bloody resting and wandering around when they really should have been rescuing the missing children. But I normally try and avoid people feeling bad. I like to give my players a bit of a power fantasy, to be honest, when I'm playing these sorts of things. Unless they really piss me off, and I'll drop a beholder on them. Yeah, they've slowly been learning that they should take more short rests instead of long rests all the time. Yeah, absolutely. I like my players to feel bad for their actions, suffer your consequences, and live with it. Yeah, we know. Very much like you, mate. I'm a big fan of all the sort of like cliches. I like wizards and warriors and stuff doing wizardy, warrior-y things. I've decided that this guy thinks he's a wizard, so I'm going to paint some sparkles on his robe. They are at the point where beholders aren't a threat, lol. Ooh, high level party. I will get to drop arc devils on them soon. That'll be fun. I'm in for time. It's 11 o'clock. Right, so I'm going to finish doing this blue robe and then I'm going to call it a night. They bullied a purple worm like 2 or 3 sessions ago. Jesus Christ. How did you let them get so powerful before you party wiped them? Yeah, that's all on you, that. Okay, guys, so thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. I feel like I've made some good progress. I've greened my snotlings, which is certainly a good and important start. We'll carry on with these shortly. I need to get them done by the end of the month, so these are at the top of my list at the moment. I hope you've all had a good night. I hope you all have remain to have a good night, and I will see you all on the next one. We're filming on Thursday, so we won't be doing... John won't have a stream running then either. But we'll have another... I'll have another stream probably next week. So have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I will see you all on the next one. Cheers, guys. Good night.